I take this and this and give you yo-yo dieting. Years and years of yo-yo dieting. So this video is going to show you what not to do when losing weight. So I'm going to go over 3 very common mistakes that people make. These mistakes are accepted as facts by most people. People will actually be making these mistakes thinking that these mistakes are getting them closer to their goal, but it's actually sabotaging their chances of reaching their goal and maintaining it. Let's make sure you are headed in the right direction. My life used to be a giant cycle of yo-yo dieting. I would go on these very, very extreme 6-week diets, and the goal was to see results as fast as possible. And I would see these results pretty fast. And I did look good, so everyone in the gym would notice and they would compliment me. I was always trying to get results as fast as possible because I was uncomfortable with my starting point. I did not want to look like that. I think that's probably why people do take extreme approaches and try to lose weight as fast as possible. They are told, like they probably do have the knowledge that that's not the way to do it, but you just feel so shitty that that kind of blinds your logic and you take this extreme approach. So I would see these results very fast, but I would lose them just as fast, if not faster. Because extreme approaches result in extreme disappointment. Which brings me to mistake number 1. That is taking an extreme approach that causes you to fall off track and yo-yo diet. That is the biggest mistake. So when you take an extreme approach and you always fall off track and you're yo-yo dieting, first of all, because your approach is so extreme, the moment you slip up a little bit and you fall off track, you are overwhelmed with so much guilt, and that usually just sends you into a downward spiral. Like the moment, when you're that strict, the moment you slip slightly off track, you get so much shame and regret, and then you're also like, oh, this food is so good, oh my gosh, and then you remember how much you miss it, and then it's just this terrible conflict of emotions, and it's just a disaster. So you're sitting there eating these foods, thinking about how much you miss them, also thinking about how bad you feel about yourself, and then the next day you wake up and you're feeling so bloated and lethargic. I would feel awful. Like I think I couldn't go through that day feeling good. Like the whole day it would just be weighing on me. So I would feel so bloated and lethargic. It was, the best way to describe it is like a food hangover. Like you literally have a food hangover when you eat that much. So naturally, the average person, especially me, was like, okay, we feel terrible. I feel terrible. What am I gonna do to make up for this? So you jump into an extreme measure for that day to make up for it and try and undo the hard work. And you think, okay, just like today, just a couple days, I'm gonna go really hard to make up for it. And sometimes I would make it through those days, but eventually it would backfire. And I would end up falling off track again, only to be stuck in this weird loop for months. So as I was stuck in this loop, obviously I would gain a lot of weight back very quickly, because this was not just like a couple extra bites of cookies every night. This was like the jar of peanut butter. Like it was bad. It was a lot of food. So usually after months and months and months of this, I would get back on track, and I would take the same approach, and I would quickly lose the weight. I'd stay on track for a couple months, and then what do you know? I would gain it again. So this photo here, this was the weight gain picture was about April, May, and it doesn't look that bad. It's probably the most subtle weight gain I ever did, but because it was so fast, in my mind, it felt like such a big weight gain. It felt like such a big noticeable difference. It doesn't look that bad nowadays, but again, in the moment, it feels terrible. This was the fastest approach I ever took. I just went super hard. I think it was like from August to end of August to beginning of October. Like it was, again, 6 weeks, I made a pretty dramatic transformation. I was so strict. I think this was the the time I had the most comments from people being like, are you competing? You're leaning out so fast. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And it was bad. Because I made this change so fast, this rebound was the worst one of all. So this here is only 5 months later. I think this is the heaviest I'd ever been. I think I definitely, yeah, I remember like going to the store, buying new pants with my mom. Like it was like, again, the biggest size I had ever been. It was bad, and because it was so fast, it felt like such a shocking change. Like to gain that much weight in 5 months, like that's a lot just from binging too. It wasn't like, oh, we're eating in a slight surplus to gain strength. Like no, it was like, let's just eat everything. So it was really, really bad. So basically what we're learning from that ties into our mistake number 1 is the faster you lose the weight, the worse the rebound is. So please do not do that. But another reason why I would gain weight so fast was my metabolism was not good. Partially because of all this yo-yo dieting, doesn't help. But also, this leads to mistake number 2, and that is neglecting compound movements, which results in a snail-like metabolism. I like to call a snail-like metabolism, because I would gain weight so quickly, obviously because I was eating a lot of food, but partially because I did not have a fast metabolism at all. So this was a couple years into my lifting journey, and I had I'm so annoyed at myself because I started thinking that compound movements were going to make my legs big and bulky, so I stopped doing them. So my results were not as good because, well, okay, so they were good. I was gaining some muscle, but you were not getting those same metabolic benefits if you were not doing a proper structured program. If you're just doing isolation movements, random stuff like that, it's not going to be the same as when you're working on your compound movements day in, day out, building on those. That's really effectively building muscle, which is going to speed up your metabolism. So nowadays, now that that is what my primary focus is on, I can actually I can eat pretty bad for a while and not really see any negative effects just because of the amount of muscle I have built up. So that is a really, really big mistake, to neglect your compound movements because they're hitting so many muscle groups at once. You're burning more calories, building more muscle, which is something that's so essential when you're trying to lose body fat. So I'm gonna go into more details on how I fixed my metabolism in mistake number 3. So just stay tuned. We'll go into that. My metabolism went from snail to cheetah. Fast forward to the fall. Here I am, super lean again. What a shock. There was some muscle gain, like I said, because I would always continue to go to the gym even when I was eating horrible. That is people will always say like, you can't outtrain a bad diet, blah, 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 but keep going to the gym because it will still benefit you. I still did gain some muscle, and I think I wouldn't be where I am today if I did not continue going to the gym throughout my binging struggles. This lean picture, I only looked like that for a couple of weeks. Not even, like it was like a week, and then I started falling off track. So again, very short-lived. I looked good. So short-lived though. So here we are, a few months later. Here I was, I gained the weight back again. This was after the holidays, so again, when you're so restrictive and you go into the holidays, it's like a recipe for disaster. I could not control myself around the extra food. In the relationship I was in at the time, I was like, oh my god, they told their family members I'm into fitness, and now I'm coming to this holiday party looking like a tub of lard, and they're gonna be like, this girl's supposed to be into fitness? Anyways, yeah, always a huge internal struggle. Right picture is me 4 months later, after another 6-week extreme intense diet, still not understanding that this was the big downfall. This was my biggest mistake. Here I am, gaining back the weight again, but I'm very happy to say that these pictures here are the last weight gain photos. After this, I smartened up, I got my shit together. As you can see in the one picture, I do look muscular, but for me, the reason this was not healthy was because it was a result of yo-yo dieting and just not the healthiest relationship with food. Like, there's not a problem with that look right there. A lot of people could look like that and be in amazing health, but like I said, for me, this was a result of yo-yo dieting, so it just wasn't good. I didn't feel good. I wasn't happy. So to go from this to this to not the yo-yo dieting, what I did was fix all of these mistakes. So I had to finally understand that I could not take these fast approaches. I don't know when it finally clicked in my head, but it did. After losing and gaining weight, like 10 times, it clicked. So I wanted to just get back on track more than anything. Like, this was like after years of just so much binging and restricting and binging, and I was like, I just want to stop gaining weight. I was like, I don't even care if I lose weight. I just want to get on track and feel healthy and stop gaining weight, because like I said, the food hangover you get when you're binging like that is shitty. So yeah, my focus, that was the number one thing, really, to just like try and just be healthy, not even focus initially on fat loss. So I did that. I took the slowest process I possibly could. I was eating quite high calorie. It was actually around maintenance. I was really focused on heavy compound movements and minimal cardio. And I did those two things because I really wanted to work on my strength, which leads me to mistake number 3, and that is having shiny object syndrome, which means that you are not sticking to a routine. You see an exercise and you say, oh, I want to try that, I want to try that, I want to try that, and every time you go into the gym, it's something different. It's never the same workout twice. And the reason that is a mistake is because if you're not focusing on continuously working on the same lifts and building on that, you're not building muscle as effectively, which is not going to improve your metabolism. When I made my sole focus in the gym progressive overload, that's when I went from thinking I had to diet on 1,500 calories to being able to lose weight on like 2,000. I mean, it's not gonna be an overnight switch. Obviously, like, you can't just be like, oh, today I'm gonna do some squats. Ooh, I can double my intake. Like, no. But working on that over time dramatically sped up my metabolism. So you gotta let go of the shiny object syndrome, stick to something for a while, work on gaining your strength, work on those lifts, and that will build your metabolism up. And then, because you're never gonna be perfect, like, I still slip up, I still fall off track, but building up that metabolism made the world of difference in maintaining my weight. Like, that picture, like, that was it. Never again did I keep fluctuating. And it was pretty awesome. So, like, this was the lifting journey. So this was the lifting aspect of my yo-yo dieting. I struggled for it for even longer. Before I was lifting, it was even worse. So it was like 11-ish years of struggling. So what I'm trying to say is, if I can get out of it, you can get out of it too. You have to be really, really patient with yourself. The best thing you can do is try to take things slowly. The worst thing you can do is not take things slowly, because as soon as you put pressure, I think anyone who struggles this much, when you put too much pressure, it just makes you fall off track. So I had no deadline. I took things slowly, and finally it all started feeling like a lifestyle, and yo-yo dieting was just gone. And I thought that I would literally be doing that for life. It was crazy. So what I'm trying to say is, even if your struggles are just as bad or even worse, you really can get out of it by just fixing these mistakes. And it's not necessarily going to be an overnight fix, but over time, these things will change your mindset, and you're going to start to learn, like, oh, we shouldn't take extreme approaches. So yeah, to recap, no extreme approaches with your nutrition, as it will lead to yo-yo dieting. Number 2 is do your compound movements so you do not have a snail-like metabolism. Number 3 is do not have shiny object syndrome. I repeat, do not have shiny object syndrome. It's hard to say. Stick to progressive overload, because aside from lack of nutrition, not having progressive overload is the number 1 downfall people have. So I have got a free report covering everything I've just spoken about and more. It is called Knockout Formula: How to Avoid the 3 Common Fat Loss Mistakes. Like I said, everybody makes these mistakes, so I want you to not make them. I want you to actually enjoy your fitness journey. So if you would like to get this free report, it is available for 3 days. So click the link in the description box below and you will be sent the report, and it's freaking killer. I am so excited for people to use this book and refer to it throughout their fitness journey. This is not something you're just supposed to like sit down and skim through. This is a book you can have and keep on hand and refer to it for life. So I'm really excited. Check out the book, you will love it, and if you found this helpful, check out some of my other videos as well. And that is all, you guys. I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to like this video if you liked the video.